Have you ever had someone in your life who was trying to help, but they were just too close, too involved, too much in your business? And then maybe you've had the opposite, someone who gave you so much space that it felt like they weren't there for you. They felt completely absent. Both of them may have meant well, but the distance was wrong. This also happens in therapy, where your therapist can be too close or too far from you. Not just physically, but emotionally, not giving you enough space and privacy, not giving you room to breathe, being too close, or the opposite, being too removed, too clinical, too businesslike, too distant. Today I'll talk to you about an Aikido concept called ma'ai, which refers exactly to this question, being the right distance from another person. Not too close and not too far, and how this relates to psychotherapy and also to your relationships in everyday life. I'm Dr. Stephen Reedboard, longtime psychiatrist and psychiatric educator, and a 25-year student of Aikido. And this is More Than Meds. We all instinctively know when someone's standing physically too close to us or giving us extra space. Some of this is cultural. The comfortable distance between two people varies from one culture to the next. But the point is, it's not intellectual, it's not a formula. It's embodied, it's a felt sense that we have about the right distance. There's a similar feeling when someone's too close or too far from you emotionally. If a friend or a family member, especially a family member, is too much in your business, too intrusive, too close, too involved, it's acutely uncomfortable, right? You want them to back off, give you some space and some privacy. And on the other hand, if you want some connection, some empathy, some understanding, and the other person holds back too much, they're too distant, too removed, too unattached, then it feels lonely. They're not really there for you. So there's a proper distance, both physically and also emotionally, that feels right. Close enough that you feel connected, but separated enough that you don't feel smothered. Do we have a word for that right distance in English? As far as I know, we don't. But there is a word for it in Japanese, and a way to think about proper distance as a skill, not just an intuition or a given from your culture. The word is ma'ai. Literally, it means something like interval or spacing, but it's commonly used to refer to the proper distance and the proper timing in martial arts. For example, in Aikido, a Japanese martial art that I've studied for many years. And as you'd expect, there are three zones: too close, too far, and ma'ai, just right. Kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Richard Moon Sensei is a 6th degree black belt in Aikido with a particularly free-form style that he likens to music improvisation and other kinds of spontaneous creativity. Here he briefly describes ma'ai.
There's a term in Japanese, ma'ai. Ma is a relationship, a distance, timing, space, quality. I is the term for love or harmony, as in Aikido. It's the way of harmony. So ma'ai is a harmonious relationship. It's a harmonious relationship in distance. It's a harmonious relationship in space. It's a harmonious relationship in attitude or spirit.
The concept is pretty clear physically. If you tried to punch someone or hit them with something in your hand and they were too far away, you wouldn't be able to reach them. It would have no effect. It's also not effective if they're 1 inch away from you. There's not enough space to build up power or momentum. Although Bruce Lee famously popularized the 1-inch punch, I'm sure that even he would say that it's a lot easier with a little more room. Being too close isn't effective for you, and it's not safe for you either in terms of defending yourself. Here's Moon Sensei again.
In the martial arts, you learn to feel when someone's inside of a safe distance, meaning that they could reach you easily. And when you're outside that distance and they have to, in effect, take a step to reach you, it gives you time to respond and produces a level of safety.
There's an optimal distance depending on what you're doing, a sort of imaginary sphere or cylinder around you, where your reach with your hands puts you at the proper distance from yourself, from your center. Thinking of ma'ai as the distance from yourself is a way of emphasizing the psychological component. Our sense of ma'ai depends crucially on how settled, how centered, how grounded we are ourselves.
I think of ma'ai as harmonious relationship with yourself, with learning to feel your own emotional tonality, to be present with your own experience, and to listen to the whisperings of your own system when it starts to tell you through discomfort or sensation that's somehow indicating you need to do something different.
The key point is that ma'ai, the proper distance, is dynamic. It's not a static distance. It varies, shifting moment to moment as the interaction changes. There's not one right distance. The skill is in tracking it as it changes moment to moment. What's the optimal distance at this point in time? Two martial artists facing off against each other can sense when they're too far apart. They have to overextend themselves to reach the other person, or if they're dangerously too close, or if they're at the proper ma'ai, where they're close enough to be effective, but also far enough apart that they can react in a safe way if the other person makes the first move. Some of this is physical, but some of it's psychological too. What feels too close? What feels too far away? So how about in the therapy room? The distance physically and also interpersonally in terms of feeling between the patient and the therapist isn't an accident, or shouldn't be. It's ma'ai. Have you ever been in a therapy situation where the chairs were too close together, where you felt like you were sitting too close? It's pretty uncomfortable and awkward. Or if the therapist is sitting way on the other side of the room, far away, or if you're talking across a desk or something, it feels too far, too much distance. There's a comfortable physical distance for personal, private, vulnerable conversation, as in therapy. And this is also true psychologically or emotionally. If the therapist is too close, they lack boundaries. They become a friend, or they share too much of their own life, or they get too caught up in your drama. They lose clinical perspective. They're not being the objective professional that you paid for. Or the distance can be too far, and it feels like you're talking to the wall or to a stone statue. There's no sense of connection. The right distance is close enough that you feel a warm human connection, but far enough apart to be able to see clearly and to get a professional service. And it constantly shifts in a dynamic way, depending on the two people involved, what you're talking about, what the emotional sense is in the room at the moment, how strong your feelings are, and so forth. There's also a temporal or time-based aspect to ma'ai. In Aikido, your move can be too early or too late, or just at the right time. In therapy, the same comment or interpretation can be too early, in which case the patient feels exposed or maybe flooded by the information, or simply can't make sense of it. Or the comment can be too late, after the moment has passed, when it's no longer relevant in the here and now of therapy. This is one reason that therapy takes time. The therapist is tracking the ma'ai, waiting for the right moment to say something. Not too early, not too late. Did you ever have someone say the right thing but at the wrong time? Really didn't land very well? That illustrates ma'ai, and it demonstrates that ma'ai extends far beyond therapy. It applies to everyday life, too. Every relationship has a distance that needs tracking. Too close and you're hovering, you're micromanaging, you're getting in the other person's business, rushing in to help when it's not really needed. It feels smothering, sometimes disrespectful. Too far means withdrawing or going silent or quote-unquote giving space when actually the person needs connection. It's avoidance. The skill is the same as on the Aikido mat, tracking the distance in real time, not applying a rule. For example, a friend is upset. Do you jump in and start giving unsolicited advice? which might feel too close? Or do you sit back and avoid them because you don't want to intrude, when in fact they'd really like your support, which would be too much distance? Or can you find the right ma'ai, close enough that you feel connected and present, but far enough apart that the other person can feel their own feelings and they don't feel crowded by you? To sum up, ma'ai means finding the right distance and the right timing. It's dynamic, it's relational, and it requires your attention. It's a skill that you practice. As Moon Sensei says, personal integrity, your connection with yourself, allows harmonious connection and boundaries with others.
As you become more associated with yourself, less disassociated from your experiential presence, you find that your power increases, your sensitivity increases, and you're able to use it in a way that allows you to be yourself in the world and not be imposed on by other people's ideas, thoughts, emotions, etc., etc.
So the next time you're in a therapy session or even a regular conversation, check the ma'ai. Are you too close? Are you too far? Or is the distance and timing right? I'm Dr. Stephen Reedboard, a San Francisco psychiatrist with a mostly psychotherapy practice. I published psychotherapy research early in my career, and for decades I've taught psychiatry residents, that is, psychiatrists in training, about psychotherapy. I welcome your comments and questions below. I read every single one of them, and if you ask me a good question, I'll give you a good, thoughtful answer. Please like this video, but only if you really like it. And please subscribe if you have not already. This video is part of a playlist I've been doing on Aikido and psychotherapy, and here's a link to the playlist. Every video explores a different angle. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.